everybody knows how big the problem in communism is. Understand that this is just like every fascist's rallying call. Every fascist rallying cry is like, oh, I'm here to, defeat the anti-democratic communist forces by doing martial law and killing a bunch of people. And like, if you know a little bit about Korean history, you know that that is exactly how they used to operate. And they would just like kill a shit ton, Jakarta method style. They would basically just kill a shit ton of people who were like trade unionists, feminists, anyone who was like anti-government in any meaningful fashion. They would just like murk them. To be like, oh, you're a communist, you're a sympathizer. And America basically oversaw that and thought it was awesome. So really cool that South Korea's last president is trying to bring that back in a big way.
Through this martial law, I will rebuild and protect the Free Republic of Korea, which is falling into the abyss of national ruin. To this end, I will definitely eradicate the anti-state forces who are the main culprit of the country's ruination and conduct vicious activities.
It's pretty funny because like it's just far right versus lib right as far as I understand. It's not like there's any sort of real communism happening, and it's just a bullshit excuse. And it's basically just like a consortium of like Korean women who are like, hey, maybe you shouldn't kill us, like that would be nice. That's communism. And then a bunch of people who are like kind of neoliberal and will at least say that they want to like eliminate corruption or something, and then that's treated as communism in this perspective. But I guess the reality is, like, nobody thinks that there's real communism happening in South Korea. He's just using that because he thinks like that will be successful at getting dumbasses on board. Having said that, interestingly enough, the Korean trade union movements they're pretty strong, and Koreans also love to party. They love to riot. They are very French in that regard. I suspect that there will be some labor actions that come out of this, so we'll see. No, there already is. There you go. The Korean Confederation of Trade Unions will begin an indefinite general strike tomorrow, demanding an immediate resignation of President Yoon Suk Yeol, President Goon. I'm with him. I think we need more wife guys in power. I think what he did for his wife, and a lot of y'all don't understand that because you're incels. He's not. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize it was illegal to love your wife and defend her from corruption charges because she has expensive taste. Sorry, my bad, okay?
The television channel shows a popular chat show. The mood is as soft as the furnishings. Until the president breaks into the evening schedule and spoils it with a national address that shocks the nation.
친애하는 국민 여러분.
President Yoon declares martial law, putting the military in charge. He blames pro-North Korean opposition parties who make up the majority in parliament and who've been blocking his legislation, including a budget.
Yeah, his opposition parties are all North Korean in nature. It was awesome. I do find it really interesting how bad things are getting. I will say it is an interesting predicament. It almost feels like neoliberalism on overdrive for the past 3-4 decades now, without any sort of serious contender, ideological, on the global stage. We have arrived at this capitalism supercharged moment where there's a lot of spearheaded, there's a lot of movement in the direction of fascism. If you have been dominated by America, you're already relatively reactionary. You already have like sometimes fundamentalist leadership. And if you're in the sphere of influence of America, you slowly but surely have revitalized your nascent fascist movements. Meanwhile, of course, America is doing that too. Fascist South Korea is preferable on the border of China to the US empire? Yes. I mean, that's not a stretch. That's just history. What you're describing is literally history. That is what happened. Like, people think Korea was always this like shining beacon, like the Japan of the 90s. It wasn't. Shit sucked. It was a military dictatorship, and America kept it that way because it suited its political purposes in the region.
Parliament in this building should now be suspended, but it's also the only body that can overrule the president and his martial law by voting against him. Cue a midnight dash for Parliament. First, the army. Heavily armed soldiers enter the back doors of the building. Others take a more direct route, and some need a little extra help. But opposition leaders have also summoned lawmakers and supporters to the National Assembly. This party boss...
Bro, the Korean incel guy is such a loser, by the way. Truly remarkable, truly shocking to me. He was so bad at doing a coup that like he couldn't even bring out the special military units fast enough. Like, how do you fuck it up so bad? How do you do a coup where these like old ass motherfuckers can just jump over the barrier, and before you even protect the parliament, you allow these these goddamn libtards that jump over the barrier and come in and vote, you vote against your coup. Like, it's fucked up. It makes no sense, dude. He got 100% disapproval rating. Like, that's crazy. Everybody was like, no, dog, your shit sucks. 190 votes. Motherfuckers climbed the barrier of the parliamentary wall so they could go in, and then their nerd staffers were literally pushing back the special forces and stopping them from entering the parliament to push out any of these people, to push out the people, and then they took it to a goddamn vote. And honestly, liberalism won. Okay, turns out you can vote away fascism, it seems, at least so far. Anyway, we got a lot of crazy footage, like this lady who is a lawmaker who literally grabs the weapon. Like, this is like, dude, going for the service weapon of an officer type is kind of crazy. She's literally like, give me the gun. Guys, you misunderstand. Koreans don't have guns, so they don't know what it is. They just don't know what it is. That's what it is. That's the problem. That's why they don't understand it's deadly to do that. This kind of stuff is so sick, but I'm always worried that I'm going to hype up some lady, and then a week later, I'm going to find out that she's like a psycho. You know what I mean? Half the time, whenever you see stuff like this, you'll be like, oh, look at this massive protest. And then you find out they think it's illegal to even have gay thoughts or something. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying this lady's like that, but it happens quite frequently in international politics. She's the descendant of an independence activist against Japanese imperialism and graduated from Eha Women's University that led the impeachment of the former President Park Geun-hye. Okay, well, I dig that the grandpa was an independence activist, and Japan calls him a terrorist. She is An Gueryong. She's part of the Democratic Party, which is known to be very centrist, but labeled as extreme leftism. Yeah, Korean politics is awesome. That's why I'm laughing. Like, the goddamn incel president is like, yo, these guys are doing North Korean style communism here. They want to do Jusha. And the Jusha is like child tax credits. The Jusha is like, hey, why don't we actually not make it a 70-hour work week? I think we should keep it at the reasonable 67 it was at, sir. And then he's like, oh, that's the most communist thing I've ever heard in my life. Also, I'm f***ing up the numbers, but it's not even a joke. That's literally what happened. Like, I'm exaggerating on the numbers, but like, that's what the president literally did. So that's not even a joke. It's crazy. They'd be like, can the unions get weekends off? They're like, this is the most extreme leftist position we've ever heard in our lives. What the fuck are you saying? It's, you want Jusha style self-reliant North Korean communism. We will not allow it. I mean, this is bad as fuck, dude. She's a bad for this. This is crazy. Also, what is up with the North Korean Special Forces, man? What is up with the North Korean Special Forces? I mean, as much as I respect them for having trigger discipline and not like unleashing hell upon this civilian population, half of them are congresspersons or whatever. I said North Korea, my bad. Yeah, it's just wishful thinking. Sorry. Yeah, South Korean Special Forces are just like, what's happening here? I've never seen people get pushed over so much with this much gear. It's kind of wild. That's crazy, though. That's crazy. She just went for it, dude. Respect. She went for the service weapon. I love that so much. That's Aura. Speaking of Aura, this is not the motherfucker that got stabbed in the neck, is it? Is this the guy who got stabbed on the neck like a week ago or some shit? Like it wasn't that long ago. Not a week ago, but like he got stabbed in the neck like 2 months ago. And this motherfucker is already at it again. A year ago? God, time moves fast. I thought it was like a couple months ago. Okay, whatever. He got stabbed in the neck a year ago and he's back to his old ways. Look what this man does here. It's awesome.
Live streamed himself being chauffeured to Parliament before clambering over the gate.
Yeah, he didn't just live stream himself getting chauffeured to the Parliament. He live streamed himself breaking into the Parliament and jumping over the gate.
Inside.
There is nothing funnier than that, dude. I love that. That's so awesome. And guess which platform they couldn't do any of that on? Twitch.tv, because Twitch Korea is now gone. Imagine the content that would be on Twitch right now if Twitch Korea still remained, dude.
MPs and journalists scrambled to get to the chamber. Outside the gates, the scuffles continue in a cloud of tear gas and a flash of cameras. Here, a member of parliament is seen grabbing a